Acknowledge me.
Leveled by Marvin Constant, the redshirt freshman out of Tuscaloosa.
Oh, they go by now. Let them know he don't want to stop. 65 yards as the ball was thrown away from the line of scrimmage. Gerald Dixon.
Hey, you forgot to see my son. And you proper.
Ladies and gentlemen, just like Coach Cochran said in that intro, they gonna find out. LSU indeed found out this past Saturday night. Welcome in, everyone. This is the Bama Standard. It's Tuesday night. It's your family right here. Pull up a chair, sit in the living room with us, hang out for a little bit. We got a lot to talk about. Before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button. Do your part in the live chat tonight. We need to hear from you. I see you already asking questions, wanting to know what we think about particular players and what's ahead. Don't worry, folks. We'll answer all your questions down below in that comment section. Folks, if you're watching the replay, leave us a little love there, and we'll get back to you. We always love hearing from you, whether it's live or whether it's after the show is done. But listen, we have people who help us out, and one of those people are Limestone. Have you ever dreamed of having beautiful natural stone in or around your home? Don't settle for subpar materials. Check out Limestone Company's selection of natural stone products to meet all your project needs. Limestone is located in Oneonta, Alabama, and is one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. So contact them today. Tell them we sent you by using the promo code the Bama Standard to receive 10% off your first order. Thank you, Limestone. I'm your host, Justin Riley. With me, as always, is a living legend, the man who brings everyone to the platform, the undisputed, undefeated king of comedy. He's everybody's cousin, but more importantly, he's the star of the show, Steve Brown.
What up, good fellas? I'm excited, man. I'm excited to talk Bama football. It seems like y'all are ready. So, hey, let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, somebody who's always ready to do it is just below him, 1999, all-SEC linebacker. When Ric Flair said to be the man, woo, you got to beat the man. Ladies and gentlemen, he is still that man, Marvin Constant.
One question, though.
Go ahead, Mo. What's up?
Why does Steve Brown like he about to crawl through somebody's window?
Man,
Shut up, man.
Hey, B. Listen, B. I was about to pull up and join you, my boy.
Yeah. Let's make it happen, man. Hey,
paper. What's happening?
Justin, you said something, man, that really, really made my soul smile. You said the man that's below Steve Brown, and I'm in jail. We're gonna have a great show.
As long as my mug shot not on the same page as yours, I'm fine.
Stay beneath me, you peasant.
I just want to know if I'm good now, Steve. Are we locked in?
Hey, man, we locked in. Let's do this.
It is. Marvin, go get yours, man. Let's go pull this caper.
Adam, don't do that. Listen.
Marvin saying Steve look like Brother Man from the Fifth Flow.
Hey, man, let's not do nothing because Justin, he the white boy, he a tail. So let's just keep him up.
I'm Irish. I screw all them folks. I have no allegiance. Well, listen, we got another all-star on this panel. He was a 2002 All-SEC defensive back. He was also part of Bills Mafia, locking down folks in the NFL. When he was done there, he was scouting for the Bills Mafia. When he was done there, he was ahead of all things recruiting, one of the best evaluators of talent in the land. He is currently now with 247 Sports and CBS, but most importantly, he's with the Bama Standard. Folks, welcome back, Smoke Dixon.
We're not worthy.
Yes, sir. Oh, man, Marvin.
Big talent. Let's go.
Yes.
Tat Lawson already going in. Marvin owes Pete Golding an apology.
Right, hold on. First off, time out. I don't owe Pete anything because I only judge Pete based off his body of work from the time he was on the sidelines in Tuscaloosa. Now, what he does now, hey, I'm happy for him. And clearly something has clicked because he's doing a much better damn job at Ole Miss than he did at Alabama.
All right, Justin, go ahead with your intro, man. Marvin, stop that. Go ahead.
Hey, Justin brought that point up, not me.
Actually, no, Pat Lawson did. So, all right. Well, that's got me all riled up here. Last but not least, the man who stole the set from the Tonight Show. He is the senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama magazine. He keeps Paul Feinbaum gainfully employed. The one, the only, the person who really brings all the legitimacy to the yard, Stephen Smith.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. All right, I see you.
Oh, hold on. Can you really?
Yes, I can.
Hey, Justin, can I get 1 second before we start this off?
You can have as many as you like, sir. Go right ahead.
I just got to deliver some flowers. Stephen M. Smith. I've had multiple people hit me up this week to tell me one of the real reasons why they even check into the show, not because of anybody else, is because of what you bring to the audience with your content, your inside information, all the stuff that you have, the energy that you bring to the show. Dude, big props. I'm telling you. If you don't know that people are watching for you, I'm telling you, they're watching because of us, but a lot of people are checking in because of what you bring, man. Shout out, brother.
Hey, I appreciate that. But one thing I also know, we all collaborate together. So to be on here with brothers, with family, and we all making this happen, that's the main thing.
Hey, man. And I just want to say,
nobody asked you for your opinion, man.
And I just want
Stephen Smoke enjoy their moment.
No, I just want to say I'm still the star. Go ahead.
Damn right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Smoke, I understand it. Stephen S. Smith is actually known as an international sex symbol in some areas of the world.
Hold on. What?
Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Austin Powers. International man of mystery.
That's it.
My fault for getting ourselves sidetracked. I apologize, but I had to deliver that message because.
Listen,
Justin, let's get to it. I'm excited.
It wouldn't be this show if we weren't doing all this. Welcome in, everybody, to the Bama Standard. The Standard was on full display this past Saturday night. Question is now, though, folks, how is Alabama going to build off this LSU win? Well, let's talk a little bit about things we did see, things that people didn't think we were capable of. The whole nation, except Nick Saban, wrote us off for this game. Alabama shouldn't have even shown up. Let's go ahead and get ready for the Cheez-It Bowl because that's the ultimate destination, correct? Wrong. Alabama laid the ass whooping down 42-13, and you can really go ahead and scratch that 13 off. It was in garbage time against our second team defense, but we'll give it to them a little bit because we are gracious people. Some things I saw, guys, that offensive line is doing their thing. 0 sacks allowed. The cleanest jersey in the entire stadium was Jalen Milroe's jersey. And then let's look at some other things. What really impressed me, guys, we played like Bama on both sides of the ball every second of the game. We are up 35-6. You think at that time you start to coast. Hell no. They were still bringing that intensity. But it all really started early on. Bama broke LSU's will. And I kept waiting for that moment that LSU was going to strike back. They had one of the top offenses in the SEC. They had arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. I thought at any moment they were going to kick into high gear. Alabama broke them. They couldn't respond. And what was thought was going to be a challenge for us looked like a homecoming game. Let's just call it what it is. I was impressed defensively about how we were able to manipulate LSU. The big guys, and listen, LSU had weapons, right? Mason Taylor, Kyron Lacey, Aaron Anderson. I didn't hear their names called. Right. They were rendered powerless. And every time LSU gifted Alabama an opportunity, they turned it into points. This is not the same team that we saw a few weeks back where everything was upside down. We thought the dynasty was coming to a screeching halt. It's not, folks. Let's talk about it. Marvin, start us off. I know you were excited about that defense. Then we're going to go up to Stephen M and over to the Star and down to Smoke. How do we build off of this? Where does Alabama go after doing what they did Saturday night?
Well, this is the perfect time of the season to actually lay your foundation for what you're going to do as you go to that back half of the season and potentially the playoffs. So we gave up 239 yards passing, 104 yards rushing. Now, 104 yards rushing to a team like LSU, that's impressive within itself. Although you want to keep them under 100, 104 is acceptable. So, and we did a great job in third downs against them. I think they were like 3 or 14 or something like that. Very, very low percentage for for getting first down from third down. So that was huge, impressive. I was happy to see we actually attacked the line of scrimmage. We actually made the quarterback run for his life for once. So I was happy to see that. And there was a time when LSU's coach, what's his name?
Brian
Kelly.
He's mad because they're blitzing still in the fourth quarter. BK, as long as it's time on that clock, we're going to run whatever the hell we need to run. It's your job to stop it, not complain to the ref because they up your ass. All right, so again, I was happy to see us take proper steps to getting to where we ultimately want to be at the end of the season. And that's in a position to where we're still in the hunt, and we did that.
Man, Stephen, you looked fired up the most out of anybody on this panel. I know it's hard to get more fired up than Marvin Constant, but I saw you do your thing. I think you willed Alabama to victory with that speech you gave on the previous show. But talk to me, brother. How was Alabama building off this win and propel themselves forward to this playoff?
Keep going through Jahad Campbell. That's the monster that has heated up, and we've seen it. He played edge rushing linebacker in high school in New Jersey. A lot of people don't know about this. He was a wolfbacker in New Jersey. He knows every spot in that rotation at linebacker. Keep having him rush the quarterback. Marvin, I mentioned on the last show, Campbell can rush. And we've seen it now, 3 weeks now. You turn him loose, he's in the quarterback space, he's not letting up. The guy had 3 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, big strip sack there of Garrett Nussmeier. Give Kane Womack credit. He put a bunch of looks in Nussmeier's face and confused the mess out of him. Nussmeier didn't know where it was coming from, whether it came from the north, from the east, from the south. He didn't know. And he was confused as all get out throughout the entire game. So give Kane Womack credit for dialing it up. And whenever Kane wears that cutoff black hoodie, looking like the Dark Knight Rises, that's where Alabama has gotten its most turnovers. Of the amount of turnovers Alabama has gotten this season, 70% have come with Kane Womack in that dark hoodie. So Kane, keep wearing the black hoodie because that's where the turnovers have happened all season.
And Stephen, and the biggest point to getting that pressure, those turnovers, it comes when you have an edge rusher who can command a chip or a double team. So now you're taking the heat off someone else to open up those lanes. It's not difficult.
All right, and so that's what I'm saying. Campbell has become the guy to say, I'll do it. And so he is going out there doing it. Now, Russaw is helping. Yes, he is. But Campbell's taking on that full force up, like you mentioned, Marvin. Where's the alpha that tells the rest of them, get behind me? 11 has become that.
You know what, man? I'm just going to say this like a law firm from what I've seen. Jahad, Hubbard, and Jefferson. It sound like a law firm, but those guys were laying the wood. They were doing everything. And, man, you cannot say enough about 18. You cannot say enough about Bray Hubbard. He is doing his thing, man. Of course, my favorite defensive player, man. People, y'all still sleeping on him. He lays the wood harder than anybody. That's that Justin Jefferson. You got to keep your eye on him, man. And as far as the offense, man, Milroe played like he was revived, like somebody shot him in the arm with something, and he was full of life, man. Had a lot of excitement, and he was spreading the ball around a little bit. And everybody was doing their thing. We ran, we threw it, and if we could just spread that ball around a little bit more, I think we'll be a lot more dangerous. But everybody looked really good, man. O-line did their thing. So And you know what? Hardly no penalties. Did we have any penalties?
We had 7.
For real? It didn't seem like it. It really didn't.
I mean, it was even though because LSU had 7 also, so that was even.
It was just you didn't notice it that much, Steve, because it was in the flow of the game. It never really stopped drives or gave monster plays for the other team.
Right.
Drive. So it wasn't noticeable. It was just part of the game and it's flow with it. But go ahead. I apologize.
No, I'm done, man. But speaking of penalties, man, they didn't have a whole lot of penalties, but we had the least amount of penalties in Death Valley. Everywhere else we go, we have a crap load of penalties, even at home. But in Death Valley, we had only 7. And you said as the game went on, so that means those guys were really locked in.
But you know what? You know what plays a major role in that, though, Steve? When you go into somebody's house and you kick their door in and you take the crowd out of it early and you're no longer having to contend with that crowd noise when you're making audibles and adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Because the crowd in halfway left the stadium and they beat 2.
Man, that stadium was empty. Like my show. Go ahead. What you got, Smoke? What you got?
Well, Marvin, we touched on the recipe for success earlier in the week, and we talked about the run game. Basically, in the first quarter, what you do is you drown out the crowd noise because that's when the crowd is at the highest peak when the game first starts. So once you get a few first downs and you have an electric, explosive run by your quarterback, and then you incorporate jam and justice into the game, and you start laying on those defensive linemen and moving your way, you're not going to hear much crowd noise because that's what the run game does. And now when you get to the fourth quarter, what the run game does, it just bleeds the clock and sends all the people at home, turn the TV off, and the ones that are in the crowd that want to beat that rain and beat the traffic, they get on the road too. So what I found and what I saw and what was encouraging from the game was simply this. I believe that Alabama has finally found their identity and how and what the recipe is for their success. Now, what that success is going to bring, if that's a SEC championship, a playoff nod, or the national championship, who knows? But at least we found out that our quarterback is the most athletic person on the field. He's an explosive runner, average at best passer right now, but that's not a bad thing. When you run the ball, passing windows are open up. When you run the ball, you're going to see less man-to-man. And when you do see that man-to-man, you know once you break that pocket, then you can go for a ton. And also now when you're running the ball and you're calling run plays, not RPOs, taking decision out of the quarterback's hands, now you can get your other playmakers, your 2 running backs involved. You get that offensive line that's averaging, I don't want to be off about 340 pounds at 6'3", 6'4.5", going downhill and just laying their physical ability on people. And that mentality just drives home. So now when you get on defense, you're not playing 80 reps. You're almost playing 60 to 70 reps in a game. That cuts down your penalties. That cuts down explosive plays. That cuts down the wear and tear, and people can't see your deficiencies on defense now, which is pass rushing and a little bit with the coverage.
Smoke. Tell people the truth. Defensive tackles are the worst when it comes to being in shape. They are the least in shape people on the field. So
wear them down.
Something to help them out.
Not Saturday night, sir.
You wear them down. If you wear the other team's defense down and your team does not get worn down, and at the end of the game, you have now the ability to get after the quarterback because you're not dead tired. And in the fourth quarter, you're the freshest. And they just found their identity.
I gotta give props here to Nick Sheridan also, though.
No doubt.
Nick Sheridan called his best game of the year where you saw passion from him upstairs. He brought so many different formations to create leverage for Alabama's offense. If Milroe wanted to run to the right, you saw he had Robbie Oots to the right. He may have had a receiver to the right, creating that leverage. He also had off-balance leverage where he may have had trips to the left, nobody to the right. LSU's confused. You get Jam Miller or Justice Haynes blocking to the right. Milroe hits that, he's gone.
Right.
So the way that Sheridan was able to manipulate the eyes of LSU's defense and him showing excitement, hey, I got this done. The way Sheridan left that booth in the fourth quarter to calm down, to damp everybody up, that's what you do when you dominate and you see I put together a game plan, I stuck with it, and it worked out. So I got to give Sheridan credit.
Hey, Steve, that was a major flex. When you're a coordinator, and I've been up in the box before, and you come down before the zeros hit that clock, man, you're basically just saying, hey, listen, all we got to do is just bleed the clock out, me in victory formation. It don't get no better than that. And it's a wonderful feeling. And the fact that you did it in one of the hardest places to win, man, shout out to them. They did their job this week.
Hey, Justin,
go ahead.
Hey, Justin, we got some presents.
We got some presents. And that's from our wonderful fans. First and foremost, we got JD Long, $4.99. Marvin, Steve Brown, Steve M. Smith, Smoke, Justin. Who would have thought Kane Womack and Pete Golden would be the best defensive coordinators in the SEC?
for the week. He's just saying for the week, not like the season.
No, for that day.
For that day. Got it. I agree.
Well,
Marvin, don't make your face up like that. They both heck of the game.
You got to give flowers to Pete because he currently has the #1 defense in the country right now. Yes.
No.
Say it ain't so.
I got an answer for that too when we get to Pete. Marvin, listen, you lose credibility when you can't give credit to someone that's doing a good job.
See, you missed out. I gave credit at the beginning of the show to Pete in the job that he did. I did.
Okay.
You weren't on yet. But I said Pete did an amazing job. And the fact that they're leading the country in sacks, man, Pegues is playing lights out. Oh, I gave him credit earlier.
And tackles for loss, Marvin.
Oh, yeah.
And their red zone defense is pretty good, too.
Yeah.
I think we need to contact Ryan Clark and see if we can get Marvin and Pete in the same room in the Pivot podcast to work out their differences.
He'll whoop Marvin ass.
But
No. Hey, Steve Brown. This is when I got to speak the truth. I'm taking my man Marvin. It ain't Marvin. I got you on this. Don't even be a promoter for that one. Somebody gonna get locked up.
I'm taking Pete.
Go ahead.
Pete. Marvin Cyrus here. I'm taking.
I don't know. Pete's got that perm.
He gonna hit him with the Pete perm.
Yes, it
is.
Most dangerous perm in America.
Y'all are joking, but I will say this: I've watched them play week in and week out. That team is actually peaking at the right time as well.
Yeah,
that team is one you might want to keep your eyes on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
they playing ball on both sides of the ball.
I wouldn't say, but I say defense, but not both sides. They're all right.
That offense has been.
I like what I saw.
Jackson Dart is good now. I gotta give Jackson Dart here. He good.
Jackson Dart is tough.
I like what I saw in Bama. That's it.
All right, let's roll back to Bama. We got one more present, and that's from Don Parker, $20. I know I'm going to get heat, but this team still has much more room for improvement. I'm happy to see the Corn Dogs walk out of Death Valley at the start of the fourth quarter. However, much work ahead, especially special teams.
Well, to speak to the special teams part, I mean, I agree with Don on that because you don't know truly what you have in Graham Nicholson at kicker because he hasn't been called upon to kick a pressure field goal yet. Hopefully, Bama will not need that, but you don't know. You knew when Will Riker went up to kick, he was money. You knew that. You don't know Graham Nicholson as of right now. So I agree with Don on that part. James Burnham's doing his thing. I have no issue with punter. Now, of course, on punt return, you lost Cole Adams. You're working with Mbakwe. You're working with Ryan Williams, a couple of other guys in the kickoff return, punt return game. So I do see Don's point when it comes to special teams, aside from James Burnham. He's golden.
Okay.
Do you guys realize their offenses were humming so well? We only punted twice in that game. The only reason I knew that was because James Burnham tweeted out, I really appreciate the offense for giving me 2 opportunities to punt the other night. Thanks, guys.
But Justin, he took advantage though. Both of them punts dropped inside the 20.
They did.
Boomed them. Good job.
All right. Now listen, it's time to talk about it. Listen, we've all seen this before. We celebrated like no other when Georgia went down. We were the kings of college football again. We read into the press clippings. We believed all of the talk about going to the Natty. And then we had a severe drop-off. We started to question who we were, what it was going to look like the rest of the way out. And now business has picked up. Like I said, we've seen it before. So my question right now is, how does Alabama avoid another letdown? I will go ahead and say this. There's something different in the air this time.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, let me ask you this. I say that. What are you seeing right now from these guys that tells you there's something different and there's not going to be a letdown this time around? Marvin, I know you're about to leave the room. You got things to do. I want you to give your piece, and I want you to tell folks how to find you. And then we're going to jump up to Steve, and then over to Steve and M. Smith, and Smoke will clean it up for us. Go ahead, Marvin.
Yeah, hurry up, Marvin.
Well,
Hurry
you
up,
know,
sir.
here's the thing about it. To avoid a letdown, you can't forget about the first half of the season. Vandy should be your part of your motivation. Tennessee should be part of your motivation, because these are the things you don't want to happen again. So again, with what you did on Saturday, yeah, that was all fine and great, but you also got to look at what you did in the beginning of the season, and how did you get from where you were then to where you were now, and how do you continue to build upon it? That starts with the leadership, establishing and maintaining that culture and order and keeping everybody on the same page. That starts with practicing every day like it's a game day. Refining your craft, making sure you're not taking plays off in practice, because the way you practice is the way you'll play. You practice like crap, you're going to play like crap. So again, it's just a matter of what's important to them as a team right now. It's what's going to drive them to taking those next steps. And what it should be with this new 12-team playoff, those losses shouldn't even be in their mind in terms of affecting where they're going to go, because they're not. Their destiny is in their own hands. Right now, they just got to own it. But they also got to remember there was times in this season when they didn't own it, and what can happen when you don't own it.
All right. We appreciate it, brother. Before you go, tell the folks how they can find you, what you got coming up.
Constant45 on IG, Twitter, X, Constant451. Real simple. I'm easy to find. If you're looking for me tomorrow morning about 7 a.m., I'll probably be bailing Steve Brown out of jail because he about to call somebody window. But outside of that, I'm here, people. Roll damn tide, baby.
Roll damn tide.
One last time, baby. Great job. Hats off to this team. The way they responded was impressive because, again, nobody picked them. Everybody wrote them off. And going into Death Valley is not an easy place to play. So I'm extremely pleased with the steps that they took. I say they took 5 steps in the right direction. Now we just got to go into this Mercer game, lay the law down. Don't let up. Lay the law down. And then these last 2 kick in their damn doors in Oklahoma and Auburn. And we're going to go do what we need to do after that.
That's right. And Marvin, one more thing. Leave. Leave. Get out. Get out.
Well, you all have a great night.
You too, brother. Roll Tide. Yes,
No.
sir.
No, for real. Leave.
Goodbye.
This is the best. That was the best part of the show right there.
Well, we could actually close up shop. I mean, it doesn't get much better after that, right? But
Close up your Bibles. Let's go.
Let's go. But go ahead and drop something in the offer and play. But listen, someone who never provides a letdown, but is always bringing the heat, Steve Brown, talk to me about what you see different in this team and how a letdown shouldn't even be discussed.
Hey, man, I have to go back on something Smoke said. And it looks to me, and I'm glad Smoke said it, that this team has finally found their identity. Now that you found your identity, now you can build off of that. This team that I saw Saturday, they were playing like they can't be beat and nobody can mess with us. And they can only get better. I believe after that game, I think they celebrated a little bit, and now they smell blood. They see what they can do to a team that was just as athletic as they were. You know what I'm saying? So now, and I think the struggles that they had, I think they were possibly having problems buying in. But now that they've bought in, it's like, okay, let's go do this. So I'm excited for him, man, and I really see some big things. This may sound crazy, but in a sense, and Smoke, you can kind of chime in on this. I do want us to win the SEC championship, but I really don't care if we go or not. Why? Yeah. Because that's rest to me. I mean, that's an extra game that is pretty much for bragging rights. But what do you think, Smoke?
Well, I just don't know. You have to win out in order to go to the playoffs. I believe for Bama.
Okay.
And I don't see Bama not going to the SEC championship if they do win out.
Mm-hmm.
Because A&M and Texas are both going to play each other. Mm-hmm. And one of those teams are going to have 2 losses in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
So that should eliminate one of the 2 out of that championship conversation. Or one of them going to stay in it. And Bama playing the rest of their season and potentially finishing only with 2 losses, it'll be Bama and whoever the winner of that Texas and Texas A&M game is.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee and Georgia, that's going to decide itself as well too. So I understand what you're saying, and if I was a competitor, I wouldn't even think about that. I would just play, and whatever happens, because one of the things that you don't want, and I know that we're talking about letdown, is letting down when you are playing at your best.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're coming off of a game as such that you played on Saturday, the thing that you want to do, I want to get right back into that mode of playing.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And if I have a week off to get rested up, and that might throw me off a little bit, and I'm off my routine. But as we've seen also all year, Bama is really pretty good coming off of a bye.
Mm-hmm. Damn good.
And being prepared and getting that extra week. So there 2 things can be right, 2 things can be wrong. I don't think either way. I think you still just want to get into the dance. The conference championship game would be awesome, but you just want to get into it.
Right. I personally think that, well, one thing is I noticed that Bama did play down to their opponents. I'm just hoping that they don't do that with Mercer. Just go and kick them in the butt and get everything they need out of them, set the starters down, and let the second string do their thing. Get them that experience. You know what I'm saying?
A natural letdown is when you have a team that's inconsistent and you have a team that lacks maturity and lacks leadership. That's where you see the letdown come
right. Mm-hmm.
And still yet, we think we know this team, and we just saw one game where we say, that's the team that we thought we were going to see all year. Mm-hmm. We only saw it once last week. Even in the Georgia game, we didn't see a performance like this.
Right.
In the Georgia game, we barely escaped that game with a W.
Right.
In this game, after about the 3rd or 4th series, you could have walked away and said, wow, this is a beat down, a physical butt kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Walked away at the end of the game with guys dapping up, the coordinators, and the box is empty. Everybody came down off the press box. Game done. Fans emptied out. You wanted to celebrate, but there was nobody to celebrate with except the ones that came in with you. So hopefully we don't see this letdown, but we'll see what this team is by the way that they come out on the first few series, and they'll tell you exactly how they're going to play for the rest of the year. Because if they go back down, you have an inconsistent team. Good luck for the rest of the year, because you just found out who you are last Saturday. So just build off of it and go out and play.
Okay.
Stephen M. Smith, we got to hear from you because, you bring all the ladies to the yard and all the fans from all around. This team is buy-in, right? That makes them very dangerous. What also makes them dangerous is they found their identity. Smoke. That was probably the biggest takeaway from this previous game. A team that is bought in, a team that knows who they are and has the confidence to execute everything in front of them makes them very dangerous. LSU found out we bullied LSU. So talk to me, with all those things given, why Alabama is not going to have a letdown this second go-round.
I look at it like this, guys. Kalen DeBoer. We saw 2 pictures of Kalen DeBoer in this situation. We saw the Kalen DeBoer after the miracle play against Georgia to win that game. Xavier Brown gets the pick. And Kalen DeBoer comes off the field relieved. He's smiling. Everybody's talking, toast the town, King and DeBoer. He beat Kirby, King and DeBoer. And at that moment, DeBoer didn't quite know how to handle that. It was the first win against George. It was the first win over Kirby Smart. It was on, College Game Day had it. It was everywhere. And I think not understanding how to handle that moment, it led to that net down because they celebrated a bit too much after that.
Yeah.
And DeBoer kind of allowed, hey, celebrate a whole lot. After this game against LSU, you saw him come off the field, not just confidently, but understanding the moment this time. He's like, look, we'll celebrate for about 2 seconds, and we got to get back to work. Our backs are still against the wall. We still got something to prove here. 2 different pictures of King DeBoer, 2 different moments. He now understands the magnitude of, I'm at Alabama. It took him a while to get it. It took a minute to understand it. I think now King fully gets it. I'm at Alabama. There's a different mindset that goes into this, and I think that's the reason why you don't have a letdown. It's the head man knows. There's a different mindset now.
Wow.
Absolutely right. Listen, guys, we're on a roll. We're fired up. We have every reason to be. Now, we're about to address a topic that kind of has us in our feels just a little bit. Anytime you lose a player, an impact player, it kind of punches you in the gut. Q Robinson was that impact player, led the team in sacks. A guy that's having arguably his best year at Alabama of his career. He was a difference maker. We kept on asking, where's the guy off the edge this year? We didn't have a Chris Braswell. We didn't have a Will Anderson, but we did have a Q Robinson. Now he is out for the rest of the year. We're kind of questioning things, but after I hear from y'all, I got a feeling that we're not going to have any questions anymore. We're going to be feeling really, really good. And I want to give the opportunity first to Stephen M. He's really antsy. I can feel it. So Stephen, talk to us about avoiding a drop-off with the loss of Q Robinson. Then we're going to drop down to Steve and over to Smoke.
Well, guys, we've already experienced this. We lost Yhonzae. Who steps up? Bray Hubbard. Look at how Bray's played. Bray has been phenomenal. We're talking 2 interceptions. We're talking physical hitter. Allows Malachi to play free. Hubbard's playing the ball in the air well. His confidence is growing with each game. So now you look at Q Robinson. Yes, this stings. 5th-year guy. Waited his time behind some legends. Got his opportunity. Ran with it, took advantage of it. But now we're about to see part 2 of the depth of this Kane Womack defense. You got Quay Russaw, who's the starting Wolf already. Now, Yhonzae Pierre, another former 5-star. Here's your shot, young man. The cousin of Courtney Upshaw. Here's your shot, Yhonzae. And he was getting extensive reps earlier in the season because Russaw was banged up. And then Yhonzae got hurt. Now Yhonzae's back. He's being reinserted into a role that he's very much so familiar with. Not only Yhonzae, here is Jihad Campbell. He can play Wolf. He can rush the quarterback. So now you got him. This opens up Justin Jefferson. Do we see more of him at inside linebacker with Deontay Lawson? Then Keon Keeley. You can insert him now. He's grown. He's come alive more so in practice. And in preseason ball, what did Kane Womack talk about? Keeley can play bandit or Keeley can play wolf. He can play either or. So you have a lot of options here. Though it hurts to lose Q-Rob, and I want the strongest recovery for that young man because he's got an NFL future. Absolutely. But you've got a lot of pieces here. You can put Campbell at Wolf. You can roll with Russaw and Pierre. You can look at Keon Keeley. Young man, here's your time. Take it. You have a lot of options here.
All right, Steve Brown, take it.
I think you also have another one, but he's suspended right now, so we're not going to get into him. I think he's an edge rusher too, isn't he? Isn't that not?
Coot's an edge rusher. He's suspended at this time. Don't know what caused that to happen, but he's suspended at this time.
Yeah, but he's a hell of an edge rusher too. So you pretty much nipped it all in the bud, man, and I can't even follow that. So we're going to pass on to Smoke.
Well, I'll pick it up for you. I got you. So it sucks anytime a young man goes down that's playing at their best. It sucks because the recovery part of it's a long, dark road that he's going to find out a lot about himself. And, go ahead.
Did he break his wrist or something?
I don't know that's extended. I know it was an upper body injury. I didn't know if it was his wrist or.
I thought it was his wrist. I thought I saw him clutching his wrist.
Yeah, and I've had a broken wrist before as well too, but that's a whole another subject.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The fact that you have so many other players at that position is a bonus. Now, my issue is I just don't know who those guys are, not because I don't know their name. I just haven't seen them play real good football.
Right.
Right. Even when Q Rob was playing, I knew he was out there, but he never really flashed across the field on the film for me. Good player. And you're losing one of your better ones. So you are going to lose that edge presence that you kind of had. Now it gets worse. Because the players that weren't as good as Q Rob or shown you, they're going to have to play now. So I think the combination of Campbell and Jefferson at linebacker, I think that might be your best combo now on sub packages and third down and passing situations in terms of you get your better athletes on the field and your second best edge rusher in Campbell. But on base downs, I think they're just going to have to just patchwork guys that they have now just to get through the season. And it's Bama again. If we're talking about Alabama, one of the top echelon programs, the only word that you want to use is the next man up. And I think that's the scenario that they're at right now. But sucks for his loss that he's not playing anymore this year. But I can't really say I felt him that much to say, whoa, oh my God, the season's over on defense.
I can see I can see where Smoke is coming from because, like I said, love Q Rob, good dude, good dude. If this was a Will Anderson, then you can say, oh my gosh, no. If this is a Dallas Turner, oh my gosh, no. If this was somebody like a Timmy Williams, man, this stinks. But Q Rob, quality player, but I feel like you get some real reps here with Yhonzae Pierre. Let this man grow and develop, starting with this Mercer game. Get him out here against Mercer, see how he works with Russaw, right? And then as you're working through that base package, as Smoke mentioned, then you can get into your third down sub packages where you can have some fun with a Jahad Campbell and a Justin Jefferson. And this is even a week where if you're Freddie Roach, you look at Keon Keeley and you say, young man, how bad do you want it now?
Right.
Now you have a chance, right? Now we've been preparing you to keep your mind focused on the right stuff. Now you have a chance. Get out there and show us why we brought you in here, why you came in here in this 2023 class from Florida, why you worked so hard to go from 242 to 277 pounds and become the monstrous athlete. Show us now. Right. So I think you work in Keeley, you work in Pierre with Russaw, and you kind of get a feel for, okay, who do we have that we can trust going into Oklahoma, going into Auburn, and then, of course, the playoff.
Okay, so guys, question. So I know that Robinson wasn't Will Anderson or whatever, but to me, he was kind of slowly trending that way though, because he was taking steps though. So I think that's why everybody was kind of worried because he was taking those steps.
Well, Steve, I think Alabama fans are worried because the lack of production behind him.
Right.
If he was just solid in Bama standards in terms of outside edge rushers that we've seen in the past few years of Turner, the Braswell, the Bill Anderson,
the Smith
standards that left and went to Arkansas, he's not in that same category. So if you're losing that guy, now you're saying, oh my, what's behind him has to be worse. But this is somewhat that when you look at it, it helps in the personnel department as well too. Because now you know Courtney Morgan and that crew, now you're going to find out what you really have. You don't have to wonder anymore. So it's either go ahead, sir.
Smoke. Number 15 is behind 0, and he's playing a whole lot better.
Hear me out. I'm not saying I'm not disagreeing with you, but 15 and 0 are two separate categories because what 0 brings a lot of that senior leadership
and set the defense.
Set your defense and play. And it's not that he's that awful that he can't go out there and do it. And neither I can't say flat out 15 is way better than 0. We just see the potential, but we haven't seen the production. 15 still has to learn how to play every down, how to play, how to set the defense, how to add leadership. 0 made one of the biggest plays of the season on the interception. That's a vet play that he made on the goal line.
That was a veteran play.
In a game when you're playing downhill and you know people are running at you and you need that bigger, forceful linebacker inside, that's where Deontay Lawson comes in. When you're playing a space game where you need to run and chase eraser type, that's when Jefferson comes in. So they both bring different things and skill sets to the game. It all depends on what you want. I can't agree with you and say those guys that are playing behind Q Robinson are better than Q, if that's the answer that you want. I'm not going to say that because I know that's not.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to say that, but I just said that about the linebacker being.
Yeah. And that's in every position. We can say that, but as a matter of fact, Q Robinson is the best edge rusher in that building in Alabama from what we've seen.
Right. And how he became that way, Smoke, is from learning from those guys that were in front of him that taught him. So now the responsibility, you're looking at a Quay Russaw, redshirt freshman, pick up where Q Rob left off. You're asking a lot from Quay. He body wise, he's in that position to do that. It's gonna take Quay game by game mentally to put himself in that situation. And now you're asking a young player in Quay to ask a even younger player in Yhonzae, who hasn't played as much as Quay has. Hey, bro, we gotta do this together now. We came in the same class together. We're both in the state of Alabama. We both came in as 5 stars, but now we're both thrust into a situation. Our brother's out. So now we got to go out here and do this thing. Right. And we don't have the amount of game reps as our brother had.
November is the month to find that out. This is where teams are asked to separate themselves from everybody else. This is also the month that players are asked to separate themselves from everybody else. Forget what we saw behind. Let's look towards the future. What are you going to do now to separate you from your competitors? Yes, I hear all what you're saying right now. But this is a time where stars truly emerge. And now we need those stars to step up now that Q is gone. But listen, we got some more gifts coming our way.
What?
Yeah, we thank all y'all. And please forgive me if I mispronounce this name. I am from Mississippi. For sure. Ushula Lowerly, $20. We greatly appreciate that. And I'm not sure how to quite take this comment, but Yazid, $5. Thank you. We appreciate that. If you ever had any doubts about Smoke, then you obviously have not been following him his entire career or on this channel.
Okay, pause for a second. That's Dante Ellington. Okay.
He hit you up, bro.
No, I just know that it's because in between who is a joke that we used to say when we used to go to Brian Hall. And there's a guy that used to work back that used to wash the dishes. And Dante and I were going through one time. We're both Northerners. Dante he's raised in Rochester, New York. I'm from Silver Spring, Maryland. And we're down, and the guy was like, yeah, we were saying something. And the guy said, in between who? And Dante and I looked at each other. What does in between mean? We figured out that was
in between.
There you go. That's easy, bro. Listen, pleasure. I'll get with you later on. But yeah, that's easy.
Hey, Dante, you're still welcome to come on this show. The invitation is still out there, brother. So come on, let's chop it up. Let's hear more stories like this. Then we got the illustrious Don Parker, $5. Smoke, Ben's Chili Bowl or Founding Farmers. It's time for that Carver dude to eat. Sorry, he left out a letter. Turn Russaw loose.
Ben's Chili Bowl. Got it.
Nicholas Harden, $1.99. Steven, you the man.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I think he said Steven. Steven, not Steve.
No. He meant me.
Yeah.
Hey, every compliment they give to him, if they say Steven, I'm gonna take it as mine. Go ahead. The people love me. The people love me. That's why I'm the star. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Everybody's cousin. That's right. All right. We're still trending up. Now, this is an area of Alabama's offense we got to give high praise to. We've been begging for it all season long against LSU. We ran it up. 312 yards against the Bengal Tigers. Jalen Milroe was a do everything. He said, I'm taking this on myself, and I'm going to remind everyone why I was in the Heisman Trophy race to start this season out. I'm going to remind everyone whose team this is. But we don't necessarily need him to do everything. We got Justice and Jam. They need to be doing more things. They're elite. They can be difference makers. So let's talk about why it's so important at this point in the season. We talked about players emerging, players separating themselves from everyone else. And this is the part of the season where people are banged up. Justice and Jam, they're not banged up.
At all.
Those horses really haven't been allowed to get out of the barn just yet. Well, it's time to let them loose. So let's talk about it, why it's important to get all these touches they've been missing in these next few games. Start me out, Steve, and Smoke and Steven.
Okay, so I think you saw a lot of design QB runs because the offensive coordinator did his homework. He saw the film on
A&M.
Take A&M and LSU, and they saw that LSU was very vulnerable against the QB run. So
no answer.
And no answer for it. So he did it, and he did it with ease, and it was a perfectly called game. Now I think that now we're going to see more Justice and Jam as the season goes on, because again, they haven't really ran a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I gotta give him a whole bunch of props. That thing where he's faking to one of the running backs, and they're going to become the lead blocker. That was brilliant play calling. I mean, it was really cool, and it freed him like at least 3 or 4 times. So you may not see a lot of Jalen Milroe running the ball going forward unless he absolutely has to, because now our horses are rested up and they're ready to go.
Yeah, Steve, I think you have to see a lot of Jalen Milroe hands on the ball in terms of being a runner. And if you're saying Jalen Milroe, you have 30 touches, including 15 throws or 18 throws. I think the rest of those touches have to be in the run game.
Gotcha.
And the beauty behind Jam and Justice is both of those guys are very good lead blockers, and they're good without the ball in their hands. And what I mean by that is very rarely do you get running backs that are so unselfish that they're willing to be blockers, willing to step up in pass protection. And Jam Miller is a mismatch. And I'll say it again, a mismatch in the pass game.
Yes.
I believe that Alabama's best personnel is 21 fast. When I say 21 fast, that means 2 running backs. That's the first digit. The second number, tight end, meaning 81, whoever the tight end needs to be, or 45, and 2 wide receivers. So whoever the combinations of the wide receivers are, depending on what your play selection is going to be. But when you have those guys in the backfield with Jalen Milroe, it adds a layer of now how are you going to defend quarterback run or truly option run, where those guys are now creating an extra gap. A gap, B gap, C gap. They also can control the D gap if they want to go wide. You can use now pull the guard, pin down with the tackle, the guard leads through, the quarterback can take a counter step, fake it to one of those running backs, and that running back becomes now the new fullback on a kick out or leading up on either counter or power. And you saw a lot of that against LSU. And going back into my old coordinator days as a football coach, that's one of the toughest things you can do is to match up to a quarterback-led ran team, because you now have to take that safety from the middle of the field and bring them down into the box, because you have to account for that extra runner, which is the quarterback. So you don't have that extra guy to protect in the middle of the field or be the free hitter in terms of not being accounted for. When you're in the box, you're getting counted down. So now you can identify who you're going to block. And you saw a lot of that. And even on the big run, Jalen Milroe was not touched at all.
At all.
That means everyone was blocked up to a T, and they did not account. That's why Brian Kelly was saying we had a defense for it, but the defense wasn't executed properly. They tried, but Bama had hat on hat, player on player, blocked it up. All Milroe had to do was make one cut and ran down the field. Go ahead, sir.
Smoke. I'm impressed with what you just told us, but did you just run a whole play on this show? You ran a whole play. Folks, I don't think y'all was listening. He ran a whole play.
Play.
And he gave himself a touchdown. Boy, let me tell you. Hey, but this is what I don't want to see, Smoke.
Right.
And God bless his heart. I don't know who told Ty Simpson they ran an option play and tried to keep it, and they tried to kill him. I'm like, Ty, just drop back and throw it.
You gotta give. He's a giver. You gotta give it.
You gotta give.
Don't do it.
Sometimes it's not about you, or it doesn't need to be about you, sir.
Ty, we just need you to drop back and throw that thing, brother, and run if you have to. Don't you ever do no more playing QB runs ever again, because I'm like, oh, they blew him up bad.
But that's where, and Stephen, I'm gonna give you your flowers real quick and give you a chance to go. I don't mean to take up some of the time, but that's what makes Jalen Milroe in this offense so tough. Once they get in the green area, that means 20 on in, and the red area, that means 10 on in to score, because now you're creating an extra blocker. You go back and you watch the Georgia game. That's how they walked in the end zone twice, going around the left side, because they pulled, out leveraged the defense, and he didn't have enough over there to pick up. So they just walked in the end zone. Same thing you saw against LSU.
Right.
Stephen Smith, this is your time now, sir. And I want you to also add a caveat to this. Let's add an extra name. You're talking about an extra runner. We could also insert Richard Young.
Good job.
And I felt like that this is the point of the season where our Richard Young, like Bo Scarborough a few years back, was inserted into the offense and had an opportunity to really take off and ultimately be a difference maker in how the season played out. Talk to us about why we need to feed these backs.
Well, it all starts off, guys, with the confidence of your offensive line. Mm-hmm. This offensive line gets its hands on people, you're going to be able to run the football. Caden Proctor had his best game of the season. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. You're going to be two of the better edge rushers in the SEC in Swinson and Jones. And the way Proctor handled both of those guys, the job Tyler Booker was mauling people. Mm-hmm. The job he did. Parker Brownsford, a very high level, got to the second level very quickly from his center spot, controlling things. And then when Geno Vanmark got in the game, replacing Jaden Roberts, the job Geno did, and then the growth of Wilkin Farnby on the 72-yard run, the key block he got.
Yes.
When this offensive line is playing to the intensity that Coach Chris Cap wants them playing to, you can feed your backs because you're getting all of your linemen physically blocking every man. So that way your backs are seeing, I can take this hole and go. Jalen Milroe, I can take this hole and go. The offensive line, and Caden Proctor talked about it on today. He mentioned his mental has gotten so much better than where he was last year. Last year, if Proctor gave up a sack or a negative play, he would crawl himself into a hole and he would sulk, and it would take a while for him to battle back out of it. Now he's gotten to the mentality of you play the next play. If it's a bad one, don't dwell on it. You learn from it, you flush it, you move on. And you're seeing Proctor do that. And you're seeing some of these other guys up front do that. It starts off with that offensive line is playing at an elite clip. Then you're seeing Justice go, Jam go, and then Richard Young, who's healthy now. He was banged up at the start of the year. He's healthy now at the right time.
You know what? Just to piggyback off of that, Justin, when you're an offensive coordinator and you understand exactly what you have in terms of personnel, you structure your play calling to that. We've seen Alabama have 3 NFL-type running backs. If it wasn't from when they had Josh, Najee, who was the other guy?
Damien.
With Damien. I thought they crossed over with B-Rob too. But either way, if you look at a play caller sheet, they'll highlight it and say, okay, these are the plays for Young, these are the plays for Jam, and these are the plays for Justice. And when you go through the game, you say these guys have to touch the ball at a minimum of 8 to 9 times a piece. That means if I'm going through a 70 play, and that's normal, 70 play sequence, I don't care at what point whoever has the hot hand, you're coming out the game because I've highlighted when I need to get Richard, if he's the best inside zone runner, if Jam is the best receiver, if Justice is the best outside zone, and I'm just throwing things at you. Those are the things that you have to understand about your team. But again, like I said yesterday on Opening Kick, everybody should tune in on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central and check us out. Me and my guy, Daniel Petty, get it in.
What a plug.
Excellent.
Yeah, it is. Real simple. But when you're in this new era of transfer portal and coaches are getting into the building for the first time, I think the first thing that you have to do is identify your personnel. And as you go through the season, fans, alums of Alabama and any other team, it takes time. This is becoming more of an NFL model where you don't have guys in the building for 3 or 4 years to really know who they are, Steve. You're just getting a few months in that relationship period. So you have to rampantly speed this up. And it might take late October to early November to truly understand what you have in terms of personnel and how to formulate a proper game plan. So I know that we've all been real harsh and real judgmental on the coaches. But as you sit back, and I sat back and I'm watching the games and I'm just seeing the trends all year, you're seeing the real good teams at this point right now start clicking. The teams that were just throwing darts at the wall and things were sticking, those teams are falling off. Does that make sense? So I think, like I said, the identity part of it, I think this is where now Coach DeBoer, Coach Sheridan, Coach Womack are finally realizing that, okay, maybe we didn't need to listen to that Ryan Williams is the greatest receiver in Alabama history. We need to throw it to him 20 times. He's a young man that's still developing. But we have 3 running backs. We have the best running quarterback in the nation. We have one of the biggest and most athletic offensive line in the country. What can we be good at? Let's eliminate everything that we're thinking about. Let's highlight and self-scout what we're good at. And what we're good at, let's execute those. And those are the only things that we want to do right now, and we'll build off of that. Sorry for that long explanation.
That was beautiful, actually. And one word that can characterize this team, Nick Saban said it best Saturday, resiliency. And I look at the players that the fan base, a lot of us wrote off. We wrote off Caden Proctor at one time. He's arguably the highest graded offensive lineman in the conference and probably the country. I think he's only given up 1 sack this year, if he has at all. Wilkin Formby, people were ready to toss him out of the stadium. This is a kid that has grown up before our eyes. Is he a finished product? No, not at all. But you see growth. You see maturity. And, it's amazing how if we just be patient, like you said, how things just play out the way they're supposed to. All right. Well, listen, folks, we've had a lot to unpack tonight, so we're going a little bit over, but that's okay. That's why you love us, right? Before we get to our next topic, we got some more gifts. Look at these folks just generously giving.
What?
Don Parker, $2. Smoke, Slim, or Mo?
I'm going to go Slim or Mo, LOL. Don Parker, the Slim or Mo? I'm going to go with the first one. I'm going to go with Slim. My man Slim Mo. I'll go with both and put them together. My man Slim Mo. I don't know which one. I don't know what he's talking about, but I'll just go with
I don't either, but that's a question we will have answered before the end of the show. Latoya Billingsley, $2. Steven told you we would hold them under 20.
I got to give Latoya her credit because she mentioned that Alabama would either shut out LSU or hold them under 20. Bama held them under 20. So, Latoya, you called it.
Yeah, Latoya. Giving me the credit, Latoya. Thank you.
Right. Okay, we got 334 go. $4.99. Seeing how the season has played out, we have fresh running backs going down the stretch. Hindsight really is 2020. Running backs will eat last half of the season. O-line too.
Great
Love
point.
that.
Great point.
Love that.
Yeah.
Great point.
All right, let's talk about another sponsor. Listen, your Alabama season itself is not complete. This playoff push is not complete. It can't be done unless you have your title towel. Go to whitwillsports.com today. Enter the promo code STANDARD to get you a nice discount courtesy of your favorite network, the Bama Standard Network. That's right, folks. Get your title towel today.
Hey.
And one last thing. Listen, Alabama fans, if you are looking for a place to hang out, express all your views, get all the latest info, and just find community, I encourage you to visit the Bama Strong Facebook group. I know you have a lot of fun with us, but we're not going to be here on every single day, but we're going to do our best. But when we're not on the air, go to this amazing group, connect with other Bama fans, and talk about all you need to talk about, vent, share victories, whatever. It's all there for you. All right, listen, it's not a big game, but it's an important game. The momentum continues. It must continue. And this is a game that Nick Saban was never really fond of, the lesser opponent, where everyone tends to overlook that opponent. Alabama takes on Mercer this Saturday. Let's talk about why this is important. Why fans should even bother tuning in. Listen, the biggest thing right now for Alabama to stay focused is go in, like you said, kick the door down, put up some touchdowns, do your thing, get the starters out of there, and then move on for that trip to Norman. There's a lot more to it, so I'm going to let my guys break it down. Stephen Smith is just chomping at the bit, so we're going to let him have it first, and then Smoke and Steve Brown.
This is a game where you look at Mercer, you're not undervaluing them, but you look at this, continuing the momentum from LSU. How do you build on this? You continue the momentum. You go out there against Mercer. You execute your offensive game plan. Your starters hit on everything that they got to do. Mm-hmm. You hit on every pass, every run. You follow every assignment that's in front of you. And you get your starters off the field playing clean football. But when you get your second and your third wave, as Smoke likes to call them on the field, this is what you want to see from your second and third wave. How much can we trust you when you go into Oklahoma? Mm-hmm. How much can we trust you when you go into Auburn? Here is your audition right here. This is where you work in Yhonzae Pierre. Okay, Yhonzae, we're depending on you now. What can you give us? What can you give us here on tape that has us go, we can trust this young man moving forward? Here's a game for Justin Jefferson. Hey, man, you've gotten some playing time this season. We're trying to see, can you create an even bigger role for yourself? What can you do here? This is a moment for Keon Keeley. Hey, son, you came in as a big deal. Are you really a big deal? Let's see what you got right here. You roll him in there. What does he do? What can he provide? You look at a guy like a Deshaun Jones, who's juggling now two positions. Not only is he playing corner, he's also playing Husky. You're trying to get him implemented in both roles to see which role is Deshaun Jones more so stronger in. That way we can have him in that role going forward. So this is a game where your second wave, your third wave of guys, you highlight who can we trust to put in the game. When that starter needs a breath of air, young man, get in there. Here's the game against Mercer to see who do we trust after our first wave of guys.
What's up?
You know, I think I got Don Parker was asking me about a barbecue spot, but I gotta go back into that. But you know what, Stephen M, you hit all of the important areas in terms of players, and I also believe this coaching staff, they still have questions that they need to answer as well too in terms of themselves. This is where you're still going in and start trying to prepare your team as if Mercer was as good or the same game that you're going to play that you just played against LSU. So you don't want to see a drop off in terms of intensity. You want to see, did I do the right things last week, meaning this week's preparation for Mercer, the same way that I did it for LSU? Because if you come out there and you drop off in intensity, that again shows you that you have an immature team, a lot of things to work on. When I played in games like this or coaching games like this, I prepared myself as if I was going against the best, because the worst I want to do was get embarrassed or give up plays against a team that everyone else outside of the building thought was a lesser team.
Right.
So you came in and you played as hard, even not harder, because you wanted to dominate, get them out of your face, be out in the first half or first quarter. If you put up 35 on them, to now go on the sideline, rest up, get the young guys out there, give yourself as a coach to see what you've taught those young guys this week, because they're going to have to play as well. Can they go ahead and perform and execute the game plan that was in for the week? Because a lot of times the 2s and the 3s don't prepare themselves just like the 1s. And the majority of the time, bad coaches don't prepare the 2s and the 3 wave guys the same that you do with the 1s. So again, this is not only for the players, this is also for the coaching staff to see if they're ahead or on the right track of SEC championship or national championship. Are we pretenders or are we contenders? The pretenders go out there and they let Mercer hang around. National championship contenders, yeah, they get Mercer out and get ready for the week in Oklahoma.
Right.
Steve?
Hey,
it's home.
Dave said everything that needed to be said. We're home. Let's move on. We are home.
We at home. This make things uncomfortable for the Bears. All right, listen, before we wrap up, we got more presents, guys. I'm telling you, man, we are so grateful for everyone who is here, regardless of whether or not you give, but we're extra thankful for those who do. Nicholas Harden, $4.99. I think we finally found our identity.
Yeah.
We're getting closer, Nick. I agree.
And then once more, Usher Lowry, $10. Alabama just needs to stay consistent. Like the Army, they have to train like they fight and never underestimate the lesser opponents. And again, thank you to all who served. And we are still celebrating the folks in the military. Even though it's not Veterans Day, we celebrate you every day, 365. Don Parker, $5. Slim or Mo is DC slang. Everyone calls you Slim, no matter your size. Mo, once you become an elder states person, it applies to males and females.
Yeah. What's up, Joe? What's up, Mo? I get it. GMB thing. You got to put Joe in there too, Don. Joe, Mo, Slim, what's happening?
All right, now it's come to that part of the show where we give our predictions and players of the game. We're going to do things a little bit different. We're not going to predict a score. We're going to talk about what we need to see, how this game serves as a way to springboard us to Norman. So talk to me about what you need to see from this game and give me a standout player. Start me out, Steve. Let's go to Steven and then Smoke.
I need to see the consistency. I need to see the same energy that we, in other words, just continue to build off where we left off and continue on. I think I need to see more Justin Jefferson. I'm a Justin Jefferson fan, and of course I'm seeing Malachi. He's doing his thing, being a leader, man. A total turnaround from the debacle at Vanderbilt. He's really looking good, man. He's been a leader. I'm loving that. And I want to see us get that running game going. You know, other than just Jalen Milroe. So I'm excited about it, man. I'm really excited about it.
Okay. Stephen F. Smith, get us pumped up from Mercer.
I mean, what I want to see is just both coordinators keeping that enthusiasm of being dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we saw Nick Sheridan fiery in that box against LSU, keeping that same fire. We saw Kane Womack laser focused against LSU on the field, keeping that same intensity. I want to see both coordinators script this thing up, call this thing up with the exact same fire, with the exact same execution. That's what I want to see right there against Mercer. And then number two, I want to see more of not just the running game, but I want to see more of this offensive line bully people to open up this run. More of the offensive line bully people to where you're seeing a Justice Haynes go off. You're seeing a Jam Miller. You're seeing a Richard Young. And you're even getting a chance to put in the Daniel Hills, the Kevin Rileys, and let them get some burn in there as well. So I want to see the offensive line bully people, but I want to see that same intensity from both coordinators again, taking this one to heart here against Mercer.
Love it.
Well, I really want to see just the maturation of Ryan Williams. I've seen Ryan run vertical routes, and I've seen Ryan make some outstanding catches, but I want to see Ryan Williams become a route running number one like receiver. Get uncovered. I don't care who's out there. Mercer, Miami, Georgia, or Tennessee. I understand his skill set is rare. Balance and body control is outstanding. His ability to contort his body in the air and catch the ball, his catch radius is outstanding. But I want to see him run routes, burst out a cut, separate, catch, tuck, and go vertical. Everything doesn't have to be an off-the-script play. That's what I'd want to see out of this game. So once you start getting down the line and you start playing against SEC competition again, getting ready for the playoff push, we've seen that they can run the ball. Running the ball is just something that you have to do consistently. But the passing game is rhythm. And I just want to see the rhythm out of that passing game with Ryan and how we're going to use our guy, K-Law, more as a runner.
Thank you.
And as a playmaker. I know that he ain't a true receiver because he still struggles catching the ball. The ball bounced off his face. That ain't supposed to happen to no.
He ain't know it was coming.
Stay ready, Steve. Stay ready.
That's a part of it. But if he's just a guy that you just got to run short routes with, bubble screens, give him those Z tosses, those Z sweeps. Yeah, he's an explosive playmaker in this offense that you just want to see those things early, get him out, allow Oklahoma to get ready for some new things that you can throw at him as coordinators too. Wink, wink. And then just keep it going.
There it is.
All right, chat. I'm going to leave it up to you. Give us your predictions and players of the game. Tell us what you need to see. We want to hear from you. All right, folks, just because the Bama Standard is winding down, it doesn't mean this network winds down. We've got a lot more content coming your way. A little bit from now, 8 p.m. Central, we've got the final whistle. And then tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Central, we're doing it big with Crimson Dynasty, Cishi Payne, Dan James, and Justin J.B. Baines. And we may even have a Stephen F. Smith sighting. You never know. I have to warn you, this isn't quite reserved, Stephen M. Stephen M. likes to cut up on Crimson Dynasty. So if you want to see a little of that, come on. The nightcap, 8:15 p.m. Central, we got Teague's Take. And then Thursday night, brand new show for the Alabama basketball fans called Going Hard in the Paint, 7:30 p.m. Central. Check that out, giving you the preview of Alabama versus Purdue. That's a big early game to test where our basketball team is. And as always, right after the game concludes Saturday, the Bama Standard post-game show. Check it out for the media reactions. Share what you learned. We're going to share what we learned, whether you like it or not. You'll like it because you keep coming back. And then Sunday, we got Sunday Night Talking Bama, 7 p.m. Central. And then Monday, as Smoke has already told us, that little shameless plug earlier, Gerald Smoke Dixon and Daniel Petty will be live at 7 p.m. Central, giving you the view of college football as a whole, starting your week out right. And then we're back doing that thing on Tuesday night. But now we are coming to a close. Before we go, we're going to tell you how you can find us throughout the week. Starting with the star of the show, talk to them, tell them where they can find you, and also what you got coming up next in case they need to see you live on the stage.
I know, right? You can follow me on Instagram, Comic Steve Brown, one word, Comic Steve Brown, on my Facebook fan page, Comedian Steve Brown. Of course, next week I will be at the Ontario Improv in Ontario, California, nice. And then the following week I will be at the Chicago Improv. So we're just working hard, man, and building the brand. Of course, every Tuesday you see me here arguing with Marvin. The reason I'm not arguing now is because he's gone.
Great show.
Great show.
Did you notice something, Steve? We finished sentences.
I know. We didn't get cut off. No run-ons. Nobody.
Nothing.
Nobody showing half of their leotard. Nothing. Flexing.
Nothing.
Hey, Smoke, I just got that. Oh yeah, by the way, I want to say this too. I believe in my heart that Marvin Pete Golden to beat your ass. Yes, he will win. Y'all, hey, people in the comments, y'all list who will win in the fight between Marvin and Pete Golden. I got Pete Golden.
I got Marvin Constant by I'm talking about Mike Tyson type minute.
Man, let me tell you. Fear the perm.
Fear the perm. That should be a t-shirt. We can sell that.
You're going to knock Marvin leotard off. Feel the perm.
I see Marvin go to Steve. I'm telling you now, I didn't see Marvin put a lot of cats to sleep. Go ahead.
Well,
Steve.
so did Bill Cosby, but we never mind.
Hey, look at Smoke trying not to laugh.
Hey, man.
Funny. So did
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Hey,
Not gonna do it.
So
Not gonna do it.
Justin, don't mess with them pudding pops now.
Not gonna do it. Not gonna do
Hey,
it.
anyway, oh man. But people can find me. Definitely, I'll be with the assistant coaches on tomorrow, seeing what the mentality is from them for this game against Mercer. So I'll be down there on the campus with the assistant coaches. I'll be at the Mercer game, so they can find me on exit coaching M. Smith. They can find me right here with my family, with my boys, with my guys right here. Led by Steve Brown, of course. But you guys coming through the Smoke, Dixon, Justin, and Marvin when he is not in Malibu, but when he's actually here.
Yeah. Hey guys, I love this show, man. Pudding pops for everybody.
Also, to address somebody in the chat that was asking about Jalen Hale, he's fine. He's continuing to push through the rehab. Okay. He's not at a place yet where he can practice right now, but he's pushing through the rehab. Me personally, I think he takes a medical red shirt and comes back next season, but he's pushing through the rehab. He's working extremely hard, folks. Jeff Allen and that staff is staying on him about staying up, staying positive, but attacking that rehab, because when you hurt your knee like that in spring ball, it does a lot to you. So I'm pretty sure not only is he with Jeff Allen, but he's with Dr. Ginger, keeping his mental in check. And along with that, he's working toward being back. We'll see when that happens, but he is putting in work.
Stephen, if I can ask you, was it the ACL only or was it ACL MCL?
It was ACL MCL.
Okay, so that's a tough one to come back from. And if anybody, like, that's a whole entire year just for recovery. It's not a year of recovery and play. That's a year of recovery, then some few months, then you can ramp it up and play. So once you tear your ACL, sit down for a year.
Yes,
no reason to rush back.
Scar tissue healing and all that.
And the most important part is your mental, to come back, to have trust in that body part.
And that's the big thing with him, not only working with Jeff Allen, but Dr. Ginger. the mental health specialist on this team going to talk to her and doing like exercises with her because, like smoke athletes, you hurt a part of your body that you need and you can't be out there. It does something to you. So I'm really happy that not only is Hale taking this up with Jeff Allen, but he's also with Dr. Ginger also.
And
Steve Brown, don't say nothing about Marvin Constant about no injury. I hope you're not.
Hey, no, I wasn't there. But and also with an injury like that, sometimes you can try to come back too soon and overcompensate and end up tearing your opposite ACL. I've seen it done before.
Correct. So, or just don't look like yourself just because you don't trust.
Right.
Guys, a prime example before we wrap this up, a prime example. Remember 2014 Eddie Jackson. Eddie got hurt. And remember, it was the same type of injury. Eddie got hurt. Bama rushed Eddie back in 2014, his sophomore year. Eddie wasn't the same.
That's true.
A lot. And then when he fully got healthy, the spring of 2015, Mel Tucker moved him to free safety. And then we saw the Eddie that Eddie became.
Right. Hey, Steven, another time it happened too. The linebacker we had, I forgot his name. He got hurt. He tore his ACL and he came back too soon. He wasn't the same.
Sean Dion?
You're talking about Terrell Lewis.
No. It's another guy. He was a middle linebacker.
Dylan Moses.
There it is.
Dylan Moses.
Oh,
yes.
They probably ruined him, actually.
Yeah, he came back too soon, and he wasn't the same
because he got a medical red shirt in the NFL. Didn't even get drafted.
Yeah.
For all those reasons.
Yeah, I think he came back too soon. He wasn't the same at all.
Hey, Steven, while you're over there with the coaches tomorrow, talking about where they can find you, can you tell them where to find Caleb Odom and some routes Saturday? Because we really like to see that.
I will bring that to Coach Shep's attention. I mean, and of course, Odom is doing everything he can blocking wise, but I will bring that to Coach Shep. Do they have some plays scripted out to throw to Odom?
You know what? I'm not going to give no pub about my social media. Just give me a couple of seconds.
I will give me one thing. We got one thing. Steve,
go ahead.
We got us a snitch.
Who's that?
Monica. Yeah, I'm telling Marvin.
Everybody loves the handsome guy with the body of a god.
That's me. That's me. That's why I want Marvin gone. Yeah.
Let's give Smoke some seconds.
One of the things that I'm not a big fan of is speaking on why players should play.
Right.
Or why players should be incorporated in the game. As a coach and a developer of talent and evaluator of talent, those guys spent so much time with those players. Mm-hmm. Maybe Caleb Odom just not ready to play.
Yeah. Right.
And he's not good enough yet to play. And that's okay. Because one of the things that I hate about this era of players is what social media, myself, and everybody else, that we all have a platform. And sometimes when we speak on young people, they start believing in that. Of saying, hey, I'm getting screwed. I'm not saying that we're doing that, but I've seen it work in a negative way. Of saying, hey, I'm getting screwed and I should be playing. Quite frankly, young man, you're a freshman. The likelihood of most freshmen playing, like I was lucky to play. It was a perfect scenario for me. I was mature enough to play. I was decent enough physically to play, so I played. But it's okay at times to just sit down and learn how to play, how to compete, and how to get better.
Hey, Smoke, I want to say this. I want to say this real quick. That's why it's such a blessing to have you on this platform with us, man, because you are giving the viewers I would say the opinions of what a coach would say, a real coach. You're giving them what a coach sees, not you're giving that perspective of what a coach sees and why he's not playing that kid. We know what y'all don't know. This is why we're not playing this guy. But when he's ready, then he'll play.
Right.
If we put him out there because y'all want him out there, then it might be a total disaster. So in other words, shut up and let us do our jobs. We gonna cook him and get him ready. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
And I'll end with this. It's for a lot of people out there that consume Alabama football. You look at this guy's a 5-star, so he should be able to pop immediately. That's not always the case. You look at some of the biggest guys that played in the Nick Saban era. Reuben Foster was a 5-star. It took Reuben 2 years to just learn how to tackle, not get on the field.
What?
Just learn how to properly tackle without getting hurt.
Yep.
That's what he means.
Remember, Reuben used to make ooh-wee hits and hurt himself. And so Reuben had to learn how to properly tackle before he could get on the field. You look at Tim Williams. Timmy Williams was a 5-star.
Reggie Ragland, yeah.
It took Timmy Williams some time until 2015 where he actually got his first real starting opportunity.
Wow.
So for a lot of these kids, it's okay to grow. Like, if you don't pop out the frying pan day one, don't get upset by it. Right. Sometimes you gotta grow.
Sit down and take your lessons, man.
You know what I appreciate too? The last thing, Marvin gone. I appreciate that so much.
He's gone.
He's gone. I appreciate that.
Only for a little while, man. He's doing extra curls.
No, he's not. He's not. He's not doing extra curls. He's trying some of that new P. Diddy oil just came out.
Y'all ain't gonna do my brother like that.
Actually, Steve, he heard the Baby Gap had a clearance sale.
Marvin,
we number 9, y'all, in the CFP rankings.
Marvin shining. Okay, go ahead.
Marvin can't dress no way, so he don't worry about the Gap stuff.
Well,
looks good, but he can't dress. He look good, but he can't dress.
That's going to do it for us here at the Bama Standard. We greatly appreciate everyone who showed up and showed out in that chat tonight. Thank you to everyone who gave generously with the super chats. Thank you to our sponsors, Whitwell Sports, as well as Lambstone. That'll do it for us. We'll see you next week, same time. Roll Tide.
Thanks for everybody that watched because of me.
Roll out.